The Life of Josef Sudek, the Poet of Prague, 1896 to 1976. Josef Sudek was born in 1896 in a small town named Kolin in the Czech Republic. His upbringing was rough. His father, a house painter, died when Josef was only 3 years old. As a resident of the Czech Republic, Josef left his job as a bookbinder and joined the Austro-Hungarian army in 1915 to fight in the First World War. During a battle on the Italian front, he was severely injured from shrapnel and was honorably discharged. His injury ended up in the amputation of his right arm. Nonetheless, during his 3-year recovery period, he began to photograph what was going on around him out of sheer boredom. After his recovery, he found that he quite enjoyed photography and decided to make it his job. He went to graphics art school in Prague in 1922 and learned more about the subject. He ended up founding the Czech Photographic Society in 1924 as he rejected the typical type of painting pictures and wanted to do other styles. Even with the loss of his arm, he insisted on using the big, bulky camera equipment and did not have assistants to begin with. Some of his works in the 20s period looks like this. In the 1930s, he shifted to some more modernist art as to support himself. He did commercial shoots, ads, portraits, and he supplied images for documentaries. He was kind of sticking to the status quo of the time. Well, that all changed in 1939 with the Nazi invasion. Josef went into his workshop and stayed there for his own safety. He photographed items from outside his window and in the woods nearby, far away from the war and invasions. He started contact printing instead of enlarging negatives, and his art was very dark and depressing, which, considering the times and where he lived, is very understandable. Unfortunately, his critics panned him for this, as he was again deviating from this typical work of the time. He continued his work throughout the war, and he wanted to continue his photography after the war. However, the years were starting to catch up with him. He had to hire assistants to help him with the heavy camera equipment wherever he went. Even during the height of communism in the area, he continued his work and was even awarded the title of Artist of Merit and Order of Laborer due to his many contributions to his country in the form of art over the years. Josef was a private man. He famously did not go to any of his art openings except for one where he, quote, wanted to see how the paintings were hung. Due to his privacy, not many of his works feature people, and he never married. On September 15th, 1976, while continuing his work till the very end, Josef Sudek died from what is believed to be a heart attack. As Josef's work varied throughout his career, I try to pick 3 photos that are different from each other, moving from the outdoors to the indoors. The first work I chose is of natures in the forest from around his hometown. As you see, it's kind of dark and there's a bunch of trees and flowers. This is one I tried to replicate, and you'll see here. However, currently there's not many leaves in the trees. They're all kind of dead because there's been snow and other weather. But I tried the best I can to try and get that sort of L shape with the trees that you see on the ground, along with the leaves, the dead leaves on the ground. The next photo is another nature one. However, this is closer to the indoors. It's called View Through the Trees, and it's from the 1960s. As you see here, it's a lovely picture, and you can kind of see the town, through the trees. And it's kind of cool because the town really isn't in focus, but you still see it over there. This is one I wanted to replicate. However, as you know, you can't really go to a convenient city given the current circumstances, so we attempted to build a city. As shown here, we attempted to build a city out of Lego with various results, and we plan to have that be sort of the standard for the cities. However, when I was out walking, I was able to get an interesting view through some trees of some houses. While it's not exactly a full city, it sort of is the kind of, looking through the trees to then see the houses that we were trying to go for to begin with. The last two photos I have are both still life. However, I like both of them because one you kind of see the reflections of the shine, and the other one I just thought was kind of funny. The first one, as you see here, is a pear on some aluminum foil wood and looks to be tissue paper surrounding that, and you'll see that the light reflects off of it, off the aluminum foil, and it looks really cool. I tried to replicate that as you see here, however, I didn't have a pear. I had an apple, so they're essentially the same thing, and apples aren't generally sold with the leaves still on them, so I went outside and took scissors and snipped off two leaves to try and put them on there to various results. And then I tried to get the lights and shadows to be a little bit closer to what it was, so there's shadow on one side, light on the other. The final one over here is with this lemon in the water, and I attempted to do this one because I thought, oh, I might have a mug that looks sort of like that, and I most certainly have a lemon somewhere. It kind of looked cool with the bubbles in it. So I tried to get a glass and get some bubbles into it. Turns out those bubbles are caused by just leaving the water to sit. So I left the water sitting for a while to try and get the extra bubbles to just, show up in there. And then I found a lemon and placed it on there and tried to take some pictures with it. Don't exactly have the best background in the world, but I think it still looks good. That was the life and times and arts of Josef Sudek. My sources are flying past you right now, and I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching.